They're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Men's health is not a game at Limitless Male. It's serious medicine. We're not a West Coast franchise with a one-size-fits-all approach. Every man is different. Some men require more or less testosterone to feel their best. At Limitless Male, we safely monitor your labs and symptoms along the way and adjust your treatment as needed. The only thing cookie cutter about Limitless Male? The incredible results men brag about. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown! 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome into Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, we got DeMornay Pierson-El, the host, as always, joining us. 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. You can also put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. As always, DeMornay Pierson-El, how's it going on a Tuesday night?
Oh, but moving forward.
Absolutely. Moving forward indeed. And I want to start off with a little bit where we left off yesterday, right back into the NBA, and really talk more about this Luka AD trade, and more so on the Mavericks side. I think we talked about what Luka could mean to the Lakers, but first off, we also got to talk about Victor Wembanyama. We hinted at it. I think the league's in trouble. He's figuring it out, and it's getting scary. He's shooting. I mean, he's walking into the threes, pulling them up one-legged. I think it was toward the last game of the month they were playing the Milwaukee Bucks. I've never seen Giannis Antetokounmpo get buoyed like that by anyone, and Victor Wembanyama did so. And that was their really last big win. They beat the Bucks in that one, 144-118, and that was the last game of the month. And Victor Wembanyama on that one, 45% from three, 100% on the free throws, 14 rebounds, 1 assist, 6 blocks, most of which on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Only 1 turnover and 30 points. And a lot of those points are him, with the handle on top of the perimeter. I mean, he's not just getting all those points down at the block. Yes, he's getting some nice dunks from time to time, but a lot of it, I mean, he's got a jumper too. How good is this guy going to get if he stays healthy?
That's the question. He's already becoming a problem, and he still hasn't figured it out yet, or, kind of the game slowed down for him. Pop is going to have him in his system, and he's going to allow him to flourish and things are not. It's going to be really, really scary because, he's different than even Joker. He is. Like Joker was, an outlier itself, and I don't even know what to call him. I don't know what to call Wemby. He's. I'm not saying he's better or anything like that, but what he's doing, how he's doing it, we haven't seen it necessarily from a big man. The closest thing probably would be Joker.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Joker's like the Chris Paul big man, and Victor's like the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander big man. I don't know. It's unreal though that we got 2 of those 7-footers right now, just being unstoppable. And the scariest thing about Victor is defensively, you can't why that game with Milwaukee Bucks was so crazy to watch was that was the very first time I see Giannis outside of when he was young, just getting in, not strong yet. He couldn't do a damn thing out there. Anytime I was going at the rim, unless he was getting fouled, like he had nothing against Victor Wembanyama. And that stuff right there. I'm curious to see, even a guy like Jokic, those matchups, as good as he is, when you're that tall, even if you get caught on a fake, you can recover so quick. So when it comes to Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, I think the real question is going to be, again, caveat, if they stay healthy. I know the West is tough, but like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, is this team going to be making runs already?
It's potential. They have some young pieces there. You got Chris Paul. We've seen what Chris Paul can do.
And they brought in Fox too, which is really why I'm intrigued by all this now.
So I mean, you literally you having a floor general to literally set you up. IQ of basketball, his mind and Pop's mind. That's a dangerous combination because Chris Paul's always in the right position. He's always 2 and 3 moves ahead. So I mean, and his game's not slowing down. He can pick you apart, but he puts everybody else in the right position. You add Fox into that with their young superstars, of which I don't think a lot of people are talking about enough. They're focused on Fox. They got some young people too that can step in and do something. You got a national championship guard who if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he was all American. If I'm not mistaken, but. I mean, at UConn, he got a 2-time national championship point guard who can, him having Chris Paul to kind of emulate after. I mean, that is going to be a gift, for him. Once it's his turn to kind of get up there, man, look out for what he can do. If they can control things and stay healthy, they're going to be one of the top 3 seeds coming out of the West. Now, I don't know exactly where we're at. But they're definitely a top 3 opponent.
Yeah, and if you're just like looking at this team too, it's a young team. Yeah. Like the average age, like you got like the old guy, really the only old guys on the team. You're looking at Harrison Barnes at 32 and Chris Paul at 39. You can throw McLaughlin in there at 28. Otherwise, it's 25 and under. Like this is not an old team at all. And like contract wise, outside of Chris Paul, you're giving a decent amount of money to Harrison Barnes as well. Like you're not spending a ton on this roster either. So really, I think what the Spurs are doing, they're just making sure all the players are right. And then as soon as they feel like they got it, they're going to pull the trigger on some money, which could be, this off season, depending on how this team goes. Because again, we can look at the standings of where they're at on the West. I think you give this team more and more time, they're going to keep pushing forward into that upper echelon. Last year, they were not even close to really getting to that play in. This year, they're right there. There's plenty of ball left. So Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul, I'm going to give that team like a 5-year window, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see them in a Western Conference.
I won't be surprised if you see them get 2 championships.
If Greg Popovich stays coaching, like yeah, they got the cap space to get some serious players.
Unless he goes somewhere, I mean, he's done it time and time again. It's just okay. He's reinvented himself. So Pop's not the issue at all. Teams are gonna have to figure out how to attack them and score. I mean, you're not gonna drive and get anything. So I mean, even if they're in a zone, even if he's in the middle, I mean, 1 step he can close out, or 2 steps he can close out in a lot of different directions, and you're gonna have to shoot it higher, and his wingspan is already there. So I mean, him being on the floor, period, is just something crazy. So I won't be surprised, within 5 years you see 2 final appearances and a championship.
Yeah, and then for them, they just got to get better on defense. Like that's it's a young team. Victor Wembanyama is certainly doing his fair share. But you still, when we're talking the NBA here, you got 4 guys, and not that they're not great athletes. When we're talking about young players, it's always you're going to have that every single time. Very rarely you're going to get young guys excel at that end of the floor. And when you got groups of young guys going out there, your defense is going to suffer. So you will watch the Spurs, and unless Victor Wembanyama is having one of those nights where he's going to give you 30, maybe 30 plus, they're giving up like 115, 120, 130, 140 points a game at times. So defense is there. And then again, they're going to have the cap space, add a few more weapons, and I could see it. How soon is it? I'm not entirely sure, but as long as Victor Wembanyama stays on that Spurs uniform, he's an easy guy to build around.
Yeah.
Like, not as I'd say Jokic is probably the easiest, like LeBron, easy to build around. Victor's gonna be one of those guys as well.
Is LeBron easy to build around though?
Today, not so much. You could push back a little bit. Back in the day, it was a lot easier. 3-point shooters. That's all you really need. If you could do that, you could build around LeBron. You just had to make sure you're not getting like Luka back then wouldn't work as well because LeBron wasn't going to give up the ball that much anyways. And I don't think Luka would really work as hard off the ball as Kyrie Irving did on those Cavs teams. So like today's version, I'll give you that. Like not so much today because he's not the same athlete, but he's still one of the easier guys to build around if you know his assets well enough. He's been playing in the league forever. The guy's 40 years old.
Debatable. I mean, you knew you had to deal with something regardless. Like you had to change things around. Now, did he make it go because he was LeBron and everything like that? Yeah, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah, no, it's just around the Lakers anyways. What do you think about Rob Pelinka just, not taking any, because LeBron, for right or wrong reasons, always gets labeled for having his hand in the cookie jar when it comes to tampering and the management's decisions on which players to go and get. It seems like Anthony Davis didn't know, LeBron didn't know, nobody knew. Maybe JJ Redick, I wasn't sure on that one, but Rob Pelinka sure as hell knew, and he got that deal done with the Mavs. How do you think LeBron is gonna be happy about that, not too upset, ready to work?
I mean, it probably puts him in a bittersweet situation. It's you happy you get to play with Luka, but somebody you built and won a championship, gets shipped off. So it's not a win or loss. I mean, you can only control what you can control. LeBron probably didn't have a hand in it, and once it was probably finalized or whatnot, I mean, he said LeBron was first to call him. If you go back, Luka posted his calls. It was the GM and it was the GM and LeBron. So at some point in time, I think LeBron was aware of it, but aware after the fact that it was already set and a done deal. Listening to his press conference, clearly it was literally their GM, the Mavericks GM and the Lakers GM pretty much, working at all types of hours to kind of get this situated and nobody gets a whiff of it. I mean, they've done business with each other for a long time, and that's how something like this was able to get done because both sides trust and know each other, and they made it work.
Yeah, that one team made it work in my mind. I'm still just so
two different. I mean, but each team is building for something different. LeBron is not going to play for forever, and what you have on your team necessarily right now is not once. If LeBron was to pull a John Cook and just I'm done, what would the Lakers have? They wouldn't have any bargaining chips, anything at all. At least with LeBron there, you can attract Luka and you can still generate some type of revenue. The Lakers, the NBA perform better when the Lakers are on top. When the Celtics and Lakers are doing good and whatnot. So they had an opportunity to plan for their future and still benefit in the now. So the Lakers were planning for further on down the road. The Mavericks are planning for, within the next 4 or 5 years. Each team had their own different wants out of the deal. Both teams got what they wanted out of it. Each team felt like they made their team better for whatever their cause was, and that's just it was what it was. People are going to try, they were a loser, this was a loser, but I mean, you won't really know until 5-6 years down the line for things to play out.
Yeah, and this is where you're right on that. I still think it's like if I'm the Mavericks, there's no way in hell I'm ever pulling that move just because of the reaction I'm gonna get.
I get what you're saying, but they know him the best, and clearly. And clearly, regardless of, yes, the 5-time All-Star appearance, yes, the scoring title, yes, the final appearance, yes, all of that, it wasn't enough. I mean, at some point in time, for them on the business side, the ceiling or, there was no, it kind of plateaued out. That's what it might have been, and they weren't going to be able to deal with whatever, and they were okay with cutting their losses and letting him go. That organization has done, I would say, one thing right, drafting one superstar after another. They drafted Dirk. after Dirk's retired and everything like that, who comes along? Luka. So I think they're going to do fine with identifying who's coming up and who's not. Yes, it sucks for them to let him go and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you know, their risk to reward was differently, and they wanted to move in a different direction.
Yeah, and it comes down to championships, right? Like, is that fair to say for the Mavericks?
Yeah.
It's not even like, can we get, because, you know, they've been getting deep into postseason already. Not like they have to win one. Is it just take one to validate it all?
Post Luka?
Post Luka, like if they get one ring with AD, is that enough?
If they win one and if they get to the Western Conference Finals for these next 3 years, win one and lose, or at least get to the finals these next 3 years, or 2 out of the 3 years and win one, I think in their eyes it's a success.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to get a ring. But the problem is like if Luka with the Lakers gets 2-3 and he becomes like one of the best players of the generation, and you're sitting there with
if that happens, what if that happens 6 years down the road? Like what if it's not, you know, immediate?
You still got rid of that guy before he hit his prime.
He might have not turned into that though. So what if Luka comes back, actually gets in shape and starts playing defense? Would he have done that at the Mavericks? Maybe, maybe not. Did it take, you know, your feelings to get hurt and, you know, you to be heartbroken to really snap out of reality? Maybe. But I mean, whatever he does, if they go to a finals, if they win, you know, a championship with him in his time here and everything like that, it's going to be a tribute to the Mavericks shipping you off, because you might have still been the same player.
You think because with Luka, like there, to me, there has to be like more to it. You wouldn't pull this move. Like they were sick of it, maybe, is where I'm almost starting to land. Like just in terms of showing up out of shape, and that was enough to let go of what was the face of your team. You think it's just discipline reasons, that kind of extra cherry on top? Because AD, yeah, you are getting a potential window to win championship. I'm not super in love with it, but I think, you know, it's good enough where it's not implausible they can make a run for it. Like, to me, they had to just been frustrated with like off the court things. Like, because that's where he has shown up a few times out of shape, kind of like you hear James Harden, not nearly to the same extent though.
For organizations to do that, I think, yes, it has to be multiple things. It can't just be one thing. Being in a room with Antonio Brown and the Raiders in that situation and understand it a lot that the media doesn't see or that the world doesn't see, it's not just one thing. And, you know, it's easy to find the one thing, but it's a lot of other little things that, honestly, you know, that the media or, you know, that the regular people, the world won't really know and understand unless you were on a team, close to somebody who's on the team who can, you know, attest to certain things or whatnot. I don't know exactly what those things were. I don't know if it's the bickering back and forth about, you know, his coaches not being in there, and he was once, you know, having certain things that he wasn't. I don't know if it was, you know, outside of activities and you not necessarily focused enough on being competitive and ready here. I mean, you have a Hall of Fame coach, you have a finals champion as a coach, so he with that same organization, so he understands, you know, what it takes and what it is. I don't think he was not involved in the situation or kind of given, you know, a heads up of things. I don't think
he stated in the press. Luka did actually that. I don't want to misquote him, but it wasn't. He was somewhat on the in, I think, within that last week. This was potentially. Unfortunately, he did already put down his agent with the house, and then he figured out like a week out that might be going down as well. The other thing, I mean, the elephant in the room is as well, what was it, 336, you know, supermax contract that they would have had to dish out. Mark Cuban, you know, obviously pulled out of the Mavericks. He might still have some stake in there, but not nearly.
He's not pulling the strings. He stepped away from the team from controlling, you know, certain things like 2 years ago. So people going at Mark Cuban. It wasn't Mark Cuban necessarily that made this deal. It's somebody else.
My point is, if Mark Cuban's there, I think he's keeping Luka in place. When he pulled out, like it left the decision up, and then they're thinking about that price on it. Maybe part of it is just like the money. They don't necessarily want to pay that much money. I'll ask you this: does every NFL team, every NFL owner gunning to win the Super Bowl every year, or
Absolutely. Absolutely.
or are they just trying to make a profit that year?
Both. I
Okay.
mean, if you're somebody like the Jets, maybe you want to make a profit. But I mean, the goal is the Super Bowl. Regardless, like you can have a Vikings type year where you're 14-2 or 14-3, and have a chance. So I mean, if you have that type of record, like yeah, Super Bowl is definitely the goal.
Okay, I was genuinely curious because sometimes I wonder, maybe NBA more, but like I do feel like at times there's teams where I'm like, you're kind of just happy to collect the check every year because it's a shared revenue. You never make any major moves. There's nothing ever that seems like you're trying to change. You just constantly play it safe and you never spend a lot of money. Maybe that happens more in the NBA. But sometimes I wonder about
you got fewer
Mavericks, but
you got fewer players and everything like that. So I mean, you could be more disposable with money, I guess.
Okay. I do think there's some owners that are okay just collecting checks and they're going to hire guys in place. They're not going to be upset, if they go get a Super Bowl, but I'm just like, in my mind, it's not their priority. The priority is like, I just want to keep this team relevant enough, do what I need to do so we can keep collecting these checks. Maybe that's totally wrong. You really think that no NFL owners like that?
I mean, they may think of it. They may think like that or whatnot, but I mean, if you don't have a Super Bowl, haven't been to a Super Bowl, like who's to say, oh no, I don't want to do that. You're telling me as an owner, as a person of being that successful to own a team and all the money and decisions and everything like that comes in that, the one thing that's on top of the world, like you don't plan to have a Super Bowl or plan to hopefully get one or anything like that. I think they definitely do. Now, are they years away from it? Potentially. Are they realistic about situations and everything like that? Yeah. But we've seen, if you go back and look at that Joe Burrow team when they went, they were in the wild card. They weren't, at the top of their game or whatnot. They got hot late in the season and it carried them to the Super Bowl. But they didn't expect, to starting the year not say, oh, we're going to play in it. Like, yeah, that's the goal.
All right, fair enough. I'm not even going to debate you on that because I can't read what those owners are thinking. But there's certain times like, and this is, I'm sure McCaskey, great, owner for the Bears, and I shouldn't say great, but nice. Like I don't think nothing ever negatively intentional. But for her, it feels like you were kind of just doing your best, and eventually you did get some people who are getting some right hires now. But just like certain owners, I'm like never super confident about, and with the Bears kind of being one of those where again, I don't think it's like negative intentions, but how much are we really trying to do here? And we got some people in place that are now spending the money, but it took so long for the Bears to ever want to
spend money.
Yeah, outside of they did the little bit with Cutler in that Marshall era, but then they kind of just went back to, we'll just stop paying people out. With that being said, I'll ask you one more thing, and then we'll throw it to our first break here. And it's about Jimmy Butler. This guy's just refusing. Doesn't want to go to the Warriors. Told them, like, if you trade me to the Warriors, I'm not going to sign. And then same thing, I believe, too. I'm blanking on the other team here. Another team wanted him, kind of gave him the same story. Trade me there. I'm still not going to sign with you guys. Just the Suns. He is pushing for the Suns. He is getting fined like crazy, starting to rack up here for the guy because he's just refusing really to participate in anything, and he's making it hard. Jimmy Butler, what do you do if you're the Heat? He's getting fined like he's not going to budge.
It's a pissing contest. So I mean, how much can you endure? If that's the case, then like I said, they get on the phone. You probably need Bradley Beal, at least that, and whatever else you need or whatever to get the situation done. But I mean, both sides want a fresh start, and the longer this keeps looming, I mean, it's the little angel and devil on your shoulder. It's just always going to be buzzing in your ears. Always going to be something when you turn on the TV, when you walk out of your house. What are the Heat going to do today until it gets solved? So I mean, it's oil and water. It don't mix like that, and those two are going at each other, and you better hopefully figure out a situation. And it's it sucks because he has control. I'm saying, I'm not going to sign, and other teams are pulling out or we're not training for you. So, find your best way to get it done, I guess.
Yeah, remember when we talked about this when it first came up and we said you need to bite the bullet early? Look at where we are now. Like, even if that, again, that's why I always say that Jimmy, like, it seems so stupid, but that's also the danger of getting a guy like Jimmy, where I don't care. You can argue it was never his fault despite, being multiple locker rooms, it was never Jimmy's fault. I do think he's just a hard guy to work with, not because he's a bad guy.
He was
really intense.
He was still playing. Now he wasn't going off, but he was showing up. He was doing what he was supposed to do and everything like that. And you went and made it worse. So people could say, "Oh, Jimmy this, Jimmy that." He was showing up to certain things, and yet you antagonize. You said your comments to the media. How do you expect somebody else to react? So yeah. I mean that's their own doing. It's not. Jimmy said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to play, but yet he still showed up and got you 20. He still, was passing the ball around and doing things. He asked to, not, be on the team flight and everything like that. He didn't show up late or whatnot. And y'all got upset and mad and, started fighting for whatever reason because, again, you're making it a contest. And then, okay, well, this side's ticked off. Now he's ticked off, and here you had it. It's just tennis back and forth.
Yeah. And, again, you don't want to play tennis with Jimmy because Jimmy cheats. Like, just saying it when
you could have just said, you just could have, hey, just stay at home, whatever, you can come here and work out or whatnot until we find a trade, we'll figure it out. And it could have been, you could have left all the bickering in house versus you going on television, internet, saying, throwing shots and everything like that. And now you're here.
That's probably the best way to do it, right? You're like, listen, I get you don't want to be here anymore. This is not going to be good for either of us. Knowing Jimmy, he's not going to go home and sit on the couch and completely tank his value as an NBA trade asset. Like, he'll be fine for it, and he's not going to be a, I don't want to say a problem in the locker room. And then if you are the Heat, you take what seems like kind of a raw deal.
They hurt themselves. It's because you could have stopped it from showing the world this. Instead, you antagonized it, and now you're in a situation where nobody really wants to, deal with the problem that you got because they seen how it can get when it could have been avoided, it could have been in the dark. It could have been something in-house, and then after the trade or whatever, you would have shipped him off. Oh, then all the stuff could have came out, and then it's like, yeah, good luck with that one.
And that's where they are. Good luck with that one. Like, it's a mess right now. And the thing about Jimmy, as we keep saying, like, he's not going to budge. Like, he's probably the guy that's going to budge, last. I'm going to bet money that the Heat does first. Couple texts here, then we'll throw it to break. Talking about, owners, how much do they really want to win? Or are they just collecting checks? He says, of course. Why else would they be tanking? Well, sometimes, to be fair, sometimes tanking is for your team is so bad. Let's keep losing games so we can get Victor Wembanyama. And it's clearly there's some value in tanking because we see what the hell Victor Wembanyama is. And
in some sports.
Yeah, in some. And that's I'm more talking NBA on that one. And he could have been talking. I'm not entirely sure which one. And then insightful dude, I couldn't agree more. Ask my Chicago Bulls. The worst place to be in the NBA is the middle. The last 4 to 6 teams make the playoffs, and the 4 to 6 just missed the playoff. They don't have a realistic chance at making a championship run, and you can't get high enough draft picks to improve your teams. Yeah, and that's true, because that's exactly where the Bulls are. It's like, maybe play-in, just short of the play-in, just over the play-in, not great draft picks, lose some rotational guys, don't trade any for more draft picks, and that's how the Bulls are where they're at today. They just got rid of all their best players, Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, not one pick really to show for it all. It's just unreal how that team's been dismantled with nothing to show for it in the future, but I've ranted about that. We'll put a pin on it. We got 2 more segments. Don't Punt Hour with the Morning Pierson-El. We'll talk some Husker football on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see mostly cloudy skies, but a few flurries possible, and a high around 31. Tonight, cloudy skies and light winds, with a low near 22. And tomorrow, a chance of freezing and drizzle, otherwise cloudy, the high near 33. Meteorologist Kyle Buck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and we wanted to give a special shout out to all of our great customers, thanking you all for a record-setting year in 2024. Now let's get the new year rolling with some big savings. Right now at Cobble, we have some of the biggest discounts in the area with over $12,000 off list price or 0% APR on select new models. So stop on in the dealership or hit us up online at cobblecars.com to get true low country overhead in action. $12,000 off list or 0% APR right now at Cobble. So please stop on in or visit us at cobblecars.com. You'll be glad you did.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hey, Reese, you hungry? You know I am, Mama. Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken fingers. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce right. You go to coleslaw right here. Ooh, Lord help me. This sweet tea makes me sweet. That's what my mama said. So what are you doing right now? Get your mom to take you to Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Hello.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays. Games of bowling, shoe rental, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into an outdated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.tailoredlandscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of three.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com, because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in to the Don't Punt Hour. DeMornay Pierson-El, the former Husker, as always, joins me via stream, 402-464-5685. That is the Sartor Heeman text line. All right, DeMornay Pierson-El, switching up with some Husker football. Talked to Chancellor Brewington about this. So we got Butler, new defensive coordinator, still familiar with the 3-3-5, obviously was part of Tony White's coaching tree as just a position coach. But looking at kind of what Nebraska has, do you feel confident about the 3-3-5 again coming in this season? Brewington was actually on the side of maybe we should switch it to the traditional defense. Not entirely sure what traditional defense, but necessarily not a big fan.
4-3, you know.
4-3. What other the common ones you're going to see in the Big Ten? 4-3 is kind of the one that he was projecting, but that's the only one I can really see Nebraska running.
I mean, there's different variations that people typically run. They run like hybrids and stuff. I think like Ohio State.
Yeah, of course, but in just a more of like the broad sense. Like, would it be wise with your knowledge of what this defense is going to look like and knowing kind of what you lost with Nash, Ty, and just a really elite, we could get pressure with 3 at times than that.
Well, the thing about that is like it could start off, with 3 and you can roll, an outside linebacker or, to make it, a true 4 or 4-3. At times, and that's honestly, what Tony was doing a lot of the time, or having an outside linebacker kind of off the ball and kind of can move around and do things or whatnot. It was the 3 down lineman, but oftentimes when you look at it, it was 4 down linemen. So it just depends on who they bring in here. It depends on what stuff looks like at practice. You lost a lot of people up front. Your D line is not what it was last year. So I'm a bit of I'm not at we need to change. I'm okay. Well, who are the bodies that you need to replace it? Because if you're gonna run, 3 down linemen, well, you're gonna have to have some gap fillers. You're gonna have to have big body guys. Nash wasn't small. Ty wasn't small. And then you had your nimble, kind of quicker guys on the outside that can, get to the quarterback. So if you got some tree stumps that are hard to move in there and whatnot, that's fine and dandy. You can reload at linebacker. You got I think it's the kid out of West Side. I want to say Christian Jones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Christian Jones, that's right.
You got him coming in that he's a heat-seeking missile. Seek and destroy type of player running downhill. You're just playing either 1 or 2 gaps. You have versatility of players that are on the team last year that, can fill holes and everything like that. So I'm not saying no to it. I'm saying what is the personnel that you have before I say, oh, no, we need to switch.
Yeah, and that's kind of where Brewington was coming from as well. Is from my knowledge, he thinks it'd be wise to switch it now because obviously you get to late fall, like you're especially middle of the season, you're not going to switch it up then and there. So again, that's going to be a decision for Butler.
And they might have different packages. They might go a 5-2. They might go 4-4-3. They might go. It's different things of what they can do. That was the versatility of the defense is what made it so well, but also of what you had of the front 7 that was able to 1, stop the run, 2, make people bounce and go to their second option. Now you got people like, Isaac Gifford filling holes. Now you got, Bullock filling holes. Now you got, your rover safeties, your strong safeties, filling holes, your cornerbacks, filling holes and whatnot. So it's just I don't want to say a bend, don't break, but you're not getting your first option. You bouncing this or giving our guys time enough to react, and, to get around the ball before something happens.
Yeah. And then again, just going back to like what's the personnel you got? You know, we still got the spring portal window as well, and
yeah, so
if we get some more defensive tackles out of that one, or ends, linebackers. We'll really wait and see more on what.
I just want to see who comes in. Like, you know, do you get, you know, a 3 tech and a 0 tech that are huge bodies, you know, after spring or something like that, or, you know, from JUCO. You know, does this coach from, you know, Tennessee, does he bring somebody, or you know, along the things of like that? You know, there's going to be people that transfer after the spring window. So I mean, it's not necessarily over. You can push, you know, the front around. You can push guys to put, you know, both hands in the ground from certain positions and everything like that. You got versatile coaches that understand and know how things work. So I'm not worried about it. It's just more so, okay, we know what is leaving, but what do you have to kind of either matches that, or, you know, can kind of that can work with, you know, what they were doing. Even, you know, when I was there, we had Malik tree stump, you had Big V tree stump, you had Randy on the outside.
Vincent Valentine?
Big V.
Yeah, he was underrated. Could not move him.
So you had those people, you know, clogging up the middle, Payne Newell, and people to that, you know, Khalil and Carlos. They weren't easy to move and whatnot. And you had people that were scraping off the edge and flying around making tackles or whatnot. So you're gonna have to have some size on the D line, especially in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I was going to ask you that next, and I think you partway answered the question, but if there's anything left in this defense, you can even go offensive side of the ball, but you're like, really, you know, we don't know what the development is, but assuming we kind of have an idea, that's kind of the spot right there for obvious reasons where we may need some additional help, not really knowing what the development of those younger guys looks like. Because again, especially, I know we can bring 4 sometimes down, you know, have 4 down linemen if we do run that defense. But there were times when we had just 3. You need a guy that's going to be unmovable. And when you mentioned some of those other guys, like a guy like Vincent Valentine, like underrated, you know, players at the university, because they're not going to light up the stat sheet, but their job is to just be that wall that's not going to move. Yeah, maybe bull rush, but they're not going there, you know, breaking the pocket and just completely letting an escape route open for wherever, if the quarterback's going to go and throw it or hand it off to the back. So guys like that, that'd be probably my only concern is, like, do we have those quote unquote unmovable objects if we're going to run a defense like that can hold their own, even at times if they're going to get a double team?
You would need that. I'm not so sure. I think we had some talented guys, and hopefully, you know, they take the next step and show you something, which is another reason, you know, the spring game. And I know the defense is like pretty much that the starters didn't go last year, but you knew what they were. But again, the spring game kind of displays that, and certain things that you can keep an eye out, you know, on people to pop, you know, especially within that first quarter when, you know, typically you're good on good is pretty much out there. Off the top of my head, I can't say, oh yeah, we have that cover, because nobody really pops into mind. But we had rotational guys that when they did get their opportunity, you know, they did succeed. They did, you know, make flash plays and everything like that when certain people needed a break to switch things out and whatnot. We did have depth. Now, are they full-time starters and can develop to the next level? That's to be unsaid. Hopefully that, you know, that they can and they will. But I mean, you know, you got a half of a whole new defensive staff coming in, so we'll see.
Yeah, and like just quick to add, you know, some of the depth there that you're talking about, like you're looking at guys like Riley Van Poppel. He's probably the big name I think most people are going to be familiar with. Like, can he do enough to take over and be a significant starter in that role? Because I'm not going to put the ceiling of what the guys did last year as an elite unit, but we got to avoid a drop off is really the only thing we're hoping for. So again, well, it's a wait and see. Butler's going to have some decision on his hands. Again, spring portal window. We'll see if we get some more talent in there. But it's going to put a pin on the Husker football talk. We'll throw the break here on the other side. Let's talk some NFL. The refs sparked back. They're tired of getting called a bunch of.
Did you see the Saints situation?
What's going on? Is it like you talking about the most controversial call of all time in the NFL?
No, the coach. Who the coach is? Who will probably be the coach?
No, I'll just search that. We'll talk about that next as well. Don't go anywhere. Dump Punt Hour. Talk to you in a little bit.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Ready to spruce up your space? No matter what project is on your list, you can check it off at the Nebraska Builders Home and Garden Show, February 7th through the 9th at the Sandhills Global Event Center. With over 200 businesses under one roof, you'll find the latest in home innovations and experts to handle your dream projects. Admission is just $10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Stop asking your friends if they're hosting a party this Sunday and come for the real party instead. Join 93.7 The Ticket for the big game at Wings and Rings at 68th and O this Sunday and walk away with great prizes just for showing up. Why worry about making a great spread of food for the game at your house when you can enjoy all the great wings and more at Wings and Rings? It's the big game party with 93.7 The Ticket at Wings and Rings this Sunday at 68th and O.
Shouldn't the landscape around your house reflect the architecture as well as the interior? Whether it's new construction or breathing life into an outdated landscape, let the teams at Tailored Landscapes, Tailored Lights, and Tailored Life combine as your local source for outdoor living. Schedule a meeting with one of our designers who listen during our consultations and combine your preferences, plus our experience to give you a timeless, sustainable, photo shoot-worthy landscape. Call us at 402-432-2572. Find us on any social media or at www.tailoredlandscapes.com, because when you find one company, you find the benefit of three. The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a card on your way home. Hey, Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. We have great Valentine's gifts in store now. And if you spend $99, we'll throw in a free bouquet of a dozen roses. Give her what she really wants this year and let us do the rest. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, your hometown jeweler since 1905 in Lincoln and Grand Island. Online at sartorheyman.com.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. The third final segment of the Dumb Punt Hour. A little bit of breaking news. Not quite at the very premiere of breaking, but close enough. Man, I'll let you break it. Eagles just can't hold on to an offensive coordinator. Pierson-El, what's going on in the NFL?
Rappaport pretty much is saying that the Saints head job is pretty much going to Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for the Eagles. But it'll probably be announced or said after the Super Bowl. Not a bad fit. We'll see what they do with the quarterback situation down there. But a very winnable conference. You got the Falcons that are up and coming. They might be something for the years to come, and you got Tampa Bay who's hot and everything like that. But I mean, that's still 9 games a year. You win 9 games, you go until you got the 4th seed in the playoffs. You'll take that.
Oh, we lost you. I think there. Good morning, Pierson-El.
I said with the Buccaneers winning 9 games a year with getting the 4th seed, that's definitely a winnable division.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this move,
it's not terrible. It's
at
not
all.
bad.
No, he's had success with the offenses he's had. Like, yes, you look at this Eagles team and you're like, you better have success, but they absolutely are. I mean, they're in the Super Bowl. What more could you want? So you can't critique him for doing an excellent job with great talent. The question is, what can you do with less? And let's see, it's Cowboys in 2018, obviously after he's done with his own playing career. And he was with the Chargers 2023 as the offensive coordinator. And then again, that's when he got to the Eagles for 2024. And now we're at where we are today. Not bad success. I'm curious about this one. It's all going to come down to the quarterback, though. I mean, this is the hardest part whenever you do these coaching carousels. Is like, again, how much can you judge a coach when the quarterback is such a if factor?
Mm-hmm.
And with the Saints, where do they draft this year in the NFL? Do we know?
I'm not too sure, but
I don't think they're in any place to get a QB.
No, but I mean, you drafted Rattler to kind of hopefully that gives you a spark. DC is still down there, 10 years in the league. He can throw all the throws that you want. He's smart. He's seen it all. DC's a people pleaser. The city's probably tired of him.
Is it on him though? That's always the question. Like I think
I don't think so. I mean, the man got hurt. The offensive line wasn't necessarily the greatest. Alvin Kamara didn't finish the season all the way through. So you had pieces that were missing. The team wasn't healthy. The defense necessarily wasn't what it was or what it's typically known for. You traded away, a huge asset in Marshawn Lattimore. So they're on the verge of a rebuild, if not already rebuilding.
I think it's part 2. I think they're trying to start cracking open that door of the rebuild, and they've already got a couple of the hinges out. That's where it's tough for a guy like Derek Carr, because he's gonna be one of those quarterbacks where he just got like a really raw deal at times for just everything going around him constantly. Spencer Rattler, where are you at on him? I don't know if he's an interesting one, because Oklahoma, and then he gets beat out by Gabriel, but then he goes to South Carolina, kind of revives his career, and then it's been kind of quiet since.
He's gonna have to make a jump. He's definitely a talented guy. The game is hard on quarterbacks, and you're small in stature. Not to say size matters or anything like that, but you don't have like a Drew Brees type offensive line or a Sean Payton play calling to kind of get you into situations and everything like that. So
also the leadership with him, and he could be totally changed. It's been a long time, but you kind of see, at least to me, I don't know the kid personally, but there's certain times where I'm like, you got to mature a little bit. Like, you got to be that leader in the room, not the guy who's getting high strung on emotion. And that's always the thing with him.
He's a young kid at what, he's 24.
Yeah, and this was him down there in South Carolina. So I'm saying he could be much different. I don't know that for sure.
I mean, you get him with the right coordinator, and some things can jump off. Kellen Moore had Dak Prescott almost, for an MVP type level.
Mm-hmm.
You can say there are shades of the game. Probably Spencer probably has a stronger arm. He probably has he's probably more accurate than Dak coming out of college, and more mobile than Dak. coming out of college. So I can see somewhat of a comparison now. How you get in there and get an offense around him and do things, it can take off and it can work. It can do enough, for you, but you have to have the right pieces. Kamara has to be healthy back in their offensive line. You got to address that. Defense, I think, will shake back. They'll get a good DC in there. They have, some pieces still there. They'll probably draft a free agent, to get down there or whatnot. So they have pieces. They're not all off. I don't think that they're the worst team in their division. They're just, a few pieces away from being, what they're typically known for.
Absolutely. Last thing I got for you. We'll be quick on it and then get out of here. The refs, they put out an angry letter. They're very upset that everybody thinks it's a conspiracy. I'm not going to quote the whole thing. It's a big paper. Are you buying it?
No. Tough titty. Oh, well. You can't take some criticizing. Shut up. Like, no.
Yeah, my whole thing is like,
why don't y'all got a game to get ready for, and you worried about people's opinions? You in the wrong place.
Yeah, my whole thing with that is even if say you're just making honest mistakes, quit making damn mistakes, and then you wouldn't be in this situation. Like it's as simple as that. Do your job better. People won't even talk about you. So I thought, cute. It's not going to change anything. People got it in their heads. For the people who thought it isn't rigged, they're going to think that. For the people who thought it is rigged, they're going to think that all you did was whine in a letter to the public. So we're going to wrap it up on that. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll keep things rolling here on Take a Weeknights. Good morning, Pierson-El. Appreciate the time. Do it again tomorrow.